Last but not least, I'd like to invite Dr. Jianli. He's one of the most heroic human rights activists that I know about. China threw him in prison. He was in solitary confinement. And people ask, does our work matter? Jianli has said that he was in a terrible state in confinement. We all felt what it was like for 1 week or 2 weeks to be in quarantine. Imagine if you're in a Chinese prison in solitary confinement. And when, after a long amount of time, he finally was given some of the letters and postcards that people around the world were speaking out for him, suddenly he said his spine stiffened, that people were speaking out for him. So speaking out matters, and Jianli is someone who speaks out. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Hideo. Good afternoon, everyone. The fact that we have to hold this event outside the UN headquarters speaks volumes about the question we are asking today. Does the United Nations, have the will or means to provide a voice for the voiceless? This question is particularly grave when it comes to the oppressed people living under tyrannical autocracies, such as the Chinese government, that does not represent the people of China at home or at the United Nations. UN Watch has been instrumental in helping the victims of human rights violations around the world speak truth to power. It has lent a voice to the voiceless and empowered the powerless. And it has tried to do everything possible in its capacity to help the UN defend its charter and the UN Human Rights Council uphold its principles. But unfortunately, you have all heard earlier from Halil and Emma that the Secretariat of the UN Human Rights Council is aggressively engaging in discriminatory actions against this UN-accredited NGO, attempting to silence it altogether with the voice that it helps bring to the UN. The very voice that should be heard and yet would either be impossible to be heard by UN and the world. This is the Secretariat of Human Rights Council. By doing so, is in effect helping the world dictators in their efforts to dampen criticism of their human rights abuses and weaken the UN's ability to foster better human rights conditions. This is a very serious issue. The issue deserves world democracy's immediate attention and actions. It is no surprise that Chinese government seeks to obstruct human rights participation in UN processes. What is surprising, however, is the UN's handling of such situations. According to our courageous whistleblower Emma Riley, Chinese government regularly submits a list of individuals that it portrays as security threats, and it requests that UN inform the Chinese mission in Geneva if any of these individuals are accredited participants for upcoming UN Human Rights Council session. The UN Human Rights Office has cooperated for many years with the Chinese government by sharing the names of activists, including Uyghurs, Tibetans, Hong Kongers, Chinese dissidents who took part in UN activities, including myself. Dr. Wang Bingzhang, He was kidnapped 20 years ago by Chinese security personnel back to China, later sentenced to life. He has been in prison for 20 years. And two other human rights lawyers, one is Gao Zhisheng and the other is Guo Feishun. They have been in the past 20 years missed many times. And for the current, Gao Zhisheng now is missing for 5-6 years. And Guo Feishun has been missing for 1 year. And two other very important leaders of a citizen movement, Ding Jiaxi and Xu Zhiyong, they have been multiply detained in past 20 years. So they are being detained in China with a secret trial, but we don't know how many years they are going to be sentenced. They have been tortured ever since they recently arrested. Ding Jiaxi's wife spoke at the Geneva Summit this spring. So we cannot forget these heroes, my colleague, who continue to fight for freedom, democracy for the people of China. Thank you.
Thank you, Jianli, for your inspiring words. You really give us hope and direction, and it really means a lot that you're with us here today. And I'll conclude this program by thanking all of our speakers who took the time and effort to be with us. We hope that member states will listen to their important words and not vote for human rights abusers. And finally, concerning our complaint, which will be on our website later this afternoon, we urge UN member states, lawmakers, members of Congress, etc., to speak out to demand that our freedom of speech be restored, censorship be ended, and investigation be launched. And if people want to help watching this on Instagram or social media, please ask your representative in Parliament, in Congress, to speak out for our rights. Thank you so much for everyone who's being here, came here today, and wish you all a good year. Thank you.